Here's a breakdown of the good news in the latest fight against the creeping surveillance state practices. In particular, the lawsuit highlighted by the article from ACLU of Oregon, ACLU.OR, regarding location data for the flock safety cameras in Eugene, Oregon, and why this matters for public records, transparency, and resisting opaque security justifications. What's happening? ACLU-OR, along with legal partners, has filed a lawsuit against the city of Eugene for refusing to disclose the locations of 57 license plate reader/surveillance cameras installed by Flock Safety. ACLU of Oregon. The city denied a prior public records request on the basis of Oregon statute ORS 192.353, which allows the withholding of records that would reveal or otherwise identify security measures or weaknesses or potential weaknesses in security measures. Look out, Eugene Springfield. The lawsuit claims that the public interest in disclosure, namely oversight of surveillance technology deployed in public spaces, outweighs the claimed security measure exemption. Look out, Eugene Springfield. The case also highlights that other Oregon cities, e.g. Springfield, Oregon Medford, Oregon Woodburn, Oregon have released at least some camera location information, meaning the transparency landscape is uneven and Eugene's stance is more opaque than peers. ACLU of Oregon. Notably, the City Council of Eugene has voted unanimously, Oct. 8, 2025, to pause the use of the cameras while the community and council have further discussion about these systems. Look out, Eugene Springfield. Why this is good news. 1. Public oversight pushed forward. The fact that a civil liberties organization is forcing this issue into court signals that the "we can't disclose because of security" argument is being challenged. That sets a precedent, or at least pushes toward one, that agencies must justify secrecy. 2. Transparency is being recognized as a counterbalance to surveillance. When camera locations, and hence volume, coverage, patterns, are disclosed, the public better understands how much of their environment is under passive monitoring. That empowers communities to ask, are these devices necessary? Are they disproportionate? How is data used, stored, shared, and for how long? 3. Encourages consistent practice across jurisdictions. The fact that some other cities have shared data suggests a norm or expectation is forming. Eugene resisting shifts the question. If peers release the data, why should other municipalities be allowed to blanket claim security and refuse? 4. Potential to restrain unchecked security state logic. The city's reliance on a statute meant for security measures being used to deny location disclosure hints at broadening of that label. By opposing it, this case challenges expansion of what counts as security, and thereby may protect against future secrecy in other surveillance domains. Number 5. Community process returns to the table. With the pause on camera use and discussion underway, the community gets space to weigh in, which helps prevent surveillance being installed by default without public negotiation or transparency. What to watch/expect. The outcome of the lawsuit. Whether Eugene must disclose the camera locations, or whether the court sides with the city's security exemption. Whether the city provides data about how many images, plates are captured, how long retained, how shared with state, federal agencies, or private companies, because location is one key, but use and retention are also critical. Whether this case motivates or triggers legislation or policy in Oregon to clarify when public records laws apply to surveillance systems. How community input shapes the future of these cameras, e.g., will there be limits, audits, sunset dates, data deletion requirements, or constraints on sharing with private entities? Whether other municipalities strengthen their transparency, or conversely, double down on secrecy in response to this precedent. Why the good news in the broader fight? Surveillance technology, especially systems that track vehicles, location patterns, maybe integrate with other data, is often deployed under the radar, justified with public safety or crime prevention, and then wrapped in secrecy. If we told you where the cameras are, criminals would evade them, etc. What this story signals is pushback against that secrecy, demands for public records, legal leverage, community input. It's a shift away from, we'll watch you and you'll have no idea how much or how, toward, we'll watch you only if you know how much and why. This is meaningful because surveillance without transparency is arguably the cornerstone of the modern surveillance state, You don't know what you're subject to, you can't challenge it, you can't assess harms, so you're disempowered. Cases like this restore some balance.